Welcome to a new episode of the P&K Podcast. I am your host, Keion Grissom.
And I'm Paul Marshall.
And Paul, it was the news heard around the world. The three-team trade deal between Cleveland, OKC, and the New York Knicks, where J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert are going to Cleveland. New York gets some prospects, and Dion Waiters goes to OKC. Now, for these struggling teams that shouldn't be struggling this season, and for the top three small forwards in the NBA, this was a horrible trade for all three teams. But I want to get your opinion before I state why this was a horrible idea.
Wow, I mean, usually when trades happen in NBA, you can kind of figure out, okay, this side got the better deal. This side doesn't exactly have players attainable right away, but they have first-round draft picks, and if they play their cards right, they can land somebody. When this trade happened, I grouped Cleveland, New York, and the Oklahoma City Thunder as like a trio. And usually, historically speaking, when you have trios, there's usually a number one or an A-level talent that's identified themselves. For example, the Three Amigos. Now that was a rare instance where everybody, Chevy Chase, Martin Short, Steve Martin, they were all commanding top billing. Famous trios, even Destiny's Child. We all knew Beyonce was the A, but Kelly could hold her own, and Michelle as a third wheel wasn't bad. You look at the Miami Heat, LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. You could go through that. Even an established group like Run DMC, there wasn't really a drop-off between, from Jam Master Jay to Rev Run to DMC. But this is the first time I've seen a trio that is literally, they're all at the same level. Like, I look at this trade and I think to myself, okay, who won? I'm not sure what they did. And I kind of looked at this from a different kind of viewpoint. Now, obviously, Cleveland was a big player in this trade, and with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love, they were looking to capitalize on a title run and really make a deep run within the Eastern Conference. And so they received J.R. and Iman Shumpert. And from a surface value, it doesn't look like they got any better. But then you're led to believe that, well, if J.R. can acquiesce and understand that he's going to be a veteran punch off the bench, and Iman Shumpert has to be a defensive wing presence, but those are all big ifs. And then if you're a Knicks fan, you are definitely convinced that the 3 to 5 years in the future are what we're shooting for and not this year. But I actually thought the team that took, in my opinion, if not the biggest step back, they're for sure number two, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And although they received Dion Waiters, I look at it from this perspective. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, they're a small market team. So as a small market team, you have to understand that your budget is a lot tighter than, let's say, the Boston Celtics or the LA Lakers or the New York Knicks. So because your budget is tighter, the moves you make hurt your pocket much more than other teams. Now, not to say those large market teams don't get affected, but because you're a small market team, you have to be really smart about how you do things. And I say to myself, that window is closing, because when you bring in a Dion Waiters, he's going to command shots. So now you have Westbrook, Durant, Ibaka. I'm not sure if Reggie Jackson, but what if Dion Waiters usurps Reggie Jackson in the pecking order? Then Reggie's probably going to want out. He thinks he can command attention, so it puts a strain. And I think for guys like Westbrook and Durant who are coming off of an injury and trying to come back in the groove, and as we previously have talked, put the team on their backs, you do have two A guys, but you also need a supporting cast. Maybe Scott Brooks can iron out the issues and the flaws, but I think that Dion Waiters, because we don't know what Dion Waiters is now. He's still trying to find himself in the NBA. I think that puts a dent on part of OKC's title run. And I'm not really sure what to do about that. To be honest, maybe whoever got a draft pick was a conditional first-round draft pick. Maybe that's a true winner. Because from a player standpoint, from the personnel that was moved east to the left, I can't figure it out. I don't know who won. I'm interested to hear what you have because I'm still scratching my head. I don't know who won this trade?
Well, Paul, with this trade going around, I kind of want to split this up into three sections. Of course, the Knicks, OKC, and Cleveland. I want to start off with the Knicks because we all know what their plan is, and that's to rebuild. Recently, they've put Calderon and Bargnani on the trading block, as well as they given away Samuel Dallenberg. You can definitely see that there were moves supposed to be made for a rebuilding process around Carmelo Anthony. Now, I don't have the mindset of Phil Jackson, but I know that he is a smart man, so whatever he does, I'm going to trust it for now, only if they can keep Carmelo as long as they possibly can. Now, I think it's horrible just because of the fact you're relying on Carmelo Anthony to make the Knicks great. You did that the first time. With the Knicks trying to rely on Carmelo like they did before, I'm not going to say it. A great artist by the name of J. Cole is going to say it for me.
Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you.
And if the Knicks organization messes up again, New York fans will lose their sanity and probably say this.
Fool me three times, open the peace sign, load the chopper, let it rain on you.
I know what the world is thinking. Wow, that got real quick. But it can happen. But on to new things. Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has been dealing with injuries, as well as the fact of trying to figure out if Kevin Durant is staying with Oklahoma City or if he's going to go somewhere else. You know, when his contract ends, there's been speculation that he might go to Washington, his hometown, or he might go to Houston just to play with James Harden again. Depending on what happens there, you never know. Maybe that's why Houston got Josh Smith, because of that contract. Didn't think about that. But it's a horrible trade for now because I think Oklahoma City is still trying to get into the playoffs. Dion Waiters, not that great of a three-point shooter. His attitude is aggressive, just like Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant at some extent. So he's going to try to demand the ball as much as possible, and when he gets the ball, he tries to go ISO when he really can't go ISO. So I don't understand why they would bring such a head case to Oklahoma City when before everybody thought that Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant clashed a little bit because Russell Westbrook would attempt more shots or just go crazy when Kevin Durant is clearly the superstar of that team. So now you're also taking shots away from Serge Ibaka, who is also an aggressive player, started learning his new jump shot ability and sometimes even shoots threes. So now you are kind of in the mix of who's going to be shooting if all four of those players are on the court together. By the way, these are very blunt answers because there is no or situation. It's I don't like to be cocky, but you're right, Keion. This is exactly what's going to happen. For Cleveland, I think with Anderson Varejao being gone, especially because of the injury, everybody thought their first move was going to be getting a big man, which they acquired recently by getting Timothy Mozgov, and that's just for a big man presence in the post, which I think was a smart move. We don't expect Timothy to do a lot. We just expect him to get rebounds and pass it out. That's it. Now, everybody always was thinking when they got JR and Iman Shumpert, you get rid of Dion Waiters to get two Dion Waiters. How does that work? Well, with LeBron being injured, I see why they brought J.R. Smith for a short run. I don't think J.R. Smith is part of LeBron's plan to get a ring for Cleveland. But if it continues to happen, J.R. Smith has the three-point ability better than Dion Waiters to be a wing presence and that guy that you can low-key forget is on the court sometimes, especially if Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love are also on the court. So that's a very smart move if you're going to get J.R. Smith just because he's the better three-point shooter. Iman Shumpert I don't think is for offense at all. I think Iman Shumpert is just supposed to be a defensive presence. But I also think it was a bad decision just because of the fact of you now have 6-7 guards, if I'm doing this right, with Matthew Dellavedova, Kyrie Irving, Price, Iman Shumpert now, J.R. Smith, LeBron is technically a guard, and James Jones and Mike Miller. That's 8. James Jones sometimes plays the shooting guard. They'll probably put him at a small forward position. But that's too many guards on one team when your focus should probably be on being big men, especially because of the fact that Kevin Love, he's the rebounder, yes, but on offense he plays more of a small forward than a power forward. It's not going to get you that offensive rebound and put it back up. It's not really going to go hard in the paint. He's going to do a pick and pop, shoot a three, which sometimes you can just guard him, because when you have 4 guys on the perimeter and 1 guy in below, it kind of hurts your team, because you can guard and trap somebody or double team somebody because of those variables. So when it comes to aggressive personality, these players are not cohesive as a unit. I don't think there's going to be a lot of team chemistry when it comes to these players. LeBron's going to be a leader. Kyrie's going to be a leader. J.R. Smith thinks he's a leader. Kevin Love is learning his place to be that moderate player, not really a superstar as of sort, but just try to help out as much as he can. But when I look back in history, and even though I'm young, I do look back before the 1991, I don't know if there's ever been 2 guys other than Larry Bird and Kevin McHale who have been a small forward, power forward kind of combination where they've led a team to a championship. So you have to continue to make Kevin Love not a superstar, but just that role player as a starter. And the leaders will always be LeBron and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, for the overwhelming part, I would agree with you. This trade, we're going to have to wait and see what plays out. Who knows? Cleveland could actually be a winner. New York could be a winner. And Oklahoma City. I think everyone could win. It's that possibility, or it's a possibility where no one wins anything. To answer your previous question of the last time a small forward and power forward combination won a title, I did some of the research and I came up with 3 possibilities. I think 2 for sure you could make an argument for. Last year with the San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard. Now Kawhi would become the Finals MVP, but at that point he was still a major contributing factor. You had mentioned the Celtics because in the 80s they did win with Kevin McHale and Larry Bird, but in 2008 Kevin Garnett was the starting power forward and Paul Pierce was the small forward. And in that series, we know that Paul Pierce was the Finals MVP, but Kevin Garnett was a major catalyst. In fact, he had won Defensive Player of the Year that year. And to go back even further, the 1974 Golden State Warriors, they had Rick Barry and Jamal Wilkes. Wilkes playing the power forward and Rick Barry the small forward. So I would agree with you in that sense that we will have to wait and see. But historically, small forward, power forward combinations are very few to come by. But you never know. The NBA is funny like that. Sports, sometimes you just, you may not hit the home run, but you hit the single, and the single is what wins the game for you. So we'll see how it goes.
We will see, Paul. I know Cleveland just had a winning streak. Unfortunately, it was broken by the Indiana Pacers. But in that winning streak, Kyrie had to score plus 50 points in a game. Him and LeBron had to score close to 100 points in one game. Kevin Love had to step up. I only seen contribution from JR and Iman Shumpert probably to 1 to 2 games in that streak. But we will see how well they do overall. But listeners, now it's your turn to tell us what you think. Were there good trade deals? Were there not good trade deals? Give us your opinions. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, listeners. Have a great day.